Hello crafty friends, my name is Jessica and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a card for you using the Just Right stencil layering pencils and the Just Right stamp set from the recent Cheering for You Says Stamp release. Now, full disclosure, these products were sent to me and I was asked to design with them, so they were given to me with the intent for me making content. So I just want to be clear. We're going to go ahead and get started. I like to use Says Stamp 130-pound cardstock for all of my ink blending. And here I'm just showing you that these layered stencils tell you which ones to start with. So this one was top one, and then it's going to go through each one and let you know where it belongs, which is really helpful. Sometimes stencils can be very misleading and a big guessing game on trying to figure out how they layer. So I appreciate when a company takes the time to indicate on the stencils which ones should be where. So now we're just going to go ahead and get started. I'm going in with the lightest color of one of the trios from Says Stamp Positively Saturated Ink line. These are the more muted yellows from the line, and I went with these because I really wanted to adhere to those nostalgic yellow red eraser pencils that I know I used in my childhood and that I enjoy buying for my children when school supplies come around. While it's fun to buy unique things, there is something about just a plain yellow number 2 pencil. So I went in with butter, and now we're going to go in with zest. And like I said, these are really great yellows for that traditional pencil that we all probably know of and used. I really love this trio. It's a really great to play with, and I just knew that I had to use it for this. And again, I'm using the directions from the stencils to tell me where to layer the colors. So now we're going in with the third layer, and we're going in with honey. A really fun thing about these inks is they dry back. So they might look darker as you first lay them down, but by the end of the video, look at how beautiful they dry back and blend together. It's going to be really great. So the reason why I'm using 3 colors is because I wanted to get the shadowing on the pencil that I'm assuming they were going for when they gave us this layering pencil. So that's why I'm using that. So now this number 4, this is going to do a 2-step process. We're going to be doing the erasers and the pencil tips. So I grabbed a couple of my smaller brushes, and I'm just making sure that I'm not going into the erasers with the brown. So trying to concentrate that color up towards the top of the pencil tip, and then making sure that I'm going lighter towards the bottom. And also this is good for our shadows, just to create a little bit more dimension. I grabbed guava for the pencil tops, and look at how perfect this pink is for pencil erasers. It is meant to be. And I'm just using a full sticky Post-it to ensure that I'm not putting that pink into the pencil tips. I want to make sure that I'm covering it up because I want my pencil tips to stay latte or brown, and I don't want to contaminate them with the pink. So these full Post-it sheets are really good for that. You could have also used some low-tack tape, or if you're really careful, you can just use another piece of paper and just ensure that you're not going over it and pushing that paper out of the way. So here's the final layer. This is the pencil top, the chrome aluminum. I'm not really sure what type of metal it is, but the part that holds the pencil to the eraser, and the lead tip on the pencils. Or I guess it would be graphite. It wouldn't be lead anymore. Yeah. So we're just using charcoal and Earl, I believe, to go ahead and create a little bit of dimension here, being sure to also keep in mind my shadows. So I'm concentrating most of the color on the outside, and then we're going to go in and use charcoal for the graphite, and then add a little extra blending on to the metal portion at the top. You'll see here in just a minute. So I'm going to go in really, really carefully and just create that extra dimension just by adding darker colors onto the outside. So as I mentioned before, this stencil set will layer on top of the stamp set, But for my card, we're just going to use the layered stencil. There's something about just adding color to paper, and it looks just a little bit more realistic to me when we don't add the black line. Here's a tip for your ultra sticky mats. If they're fairly new, you're going to want to bend them all the way back. It might be a little alarming at first, but I promise you're going to bend them back and then it'll pop that paper off a lot easier. So I decided to use this fun kind of pool seafoam blue color and a coordinating ink from Says Stamp's ink line. And we're going to use this text stamp and go ahead and add this on for a tone on tone background panel. I'm going to go ahead and use a brayer. Sometimes I use just a piece of paper, but I did have this brayer out on my desk from a previous project. So I went ahead and used that to push the ink into the cardstock. I could have put this red rubber stamp into my MISTI, but this was just a little bit easier for me to go ahead and do it this way versus getting the MISTI out and all the process with that. So I went ahead and cut down our pencil panel here and gave us a pretty decent sized border. And now I'm going to grab that coordinating stamp set and grab some of the sentiments from it. And we're going to go ahead and ink those right on to the panel. I'm grabbing the "You're So Sharp," and I believe this one says "You're Just Right the Way You Are," maybe. We'll see here in a minute. But I'm going to go ahead and line it up, and we're going to stamp it, like I said, right on to this background panel for a one layer feel. I really love the way that these yellow inks have dried back. We've created a really fun dimension and a 3D look to these pencils by using those different tones of yellow. As a quick tip, if you don't have three colors, if you only have one color of yellow, you could use your first layer very lightly. Then you could go in a little bit heavier with the same ink color on layer number 2, and then go in very heavy with your ink on layer number 3. And what I mean by going in heavy means you might need to ink it up once, then go back in and ink it up twice, and then for that third layer, do 3 layers of ink to get a differentiation between your colors. So you don't always need to have 3 inks or 3 trios. You can do this card with very basic colors and just use these simple little sneak hacks, I would guess you could call them, to get more color into your craft room. You could also use a brown. You would start with your yellow layer, then do yellow, and then add just very, very briefly a brown over the top. And then for that third layer, just go in a little bit heavier. And that would also help create a little bit of color differentiation if you didn't have all the inks. You're just right for me. That's what this sentiment says. So we're going to go ahead and ink these up. I struggled a little bit with making sure that they are lined up, and I think this one's just a little bit wavy, but that's the fun thing about handmade cards. It shows that, you know, they are made by a human, and sometimes that leads to a little bit of a misprint, I guess we can say. So I'm really loving the way that guava and this yellow trio are pairing with this pool blue color. They're very much popping together, and I'm loving it, loving it, loving it. So we're going to go ahead and make our card and adhere our background panel. I use tape runner for background panels for the most part. Be sure that your words are facing the correct direction. You're going to want to make sure that they're up when your card opens, opens the right way. I have, you know, adhered things wrong before, and that's not always fun. Sometimes you can fix it, and sometimes you just cut it and re-adhere it, or sometimes you just let it be. We're going to go ahead and pop up the pencil panel. I'm using my favorite foam tape for this. This is Altenew dimensional foam tape. It is my favorite for adding dimension. It is on the thicker side. So if you like a thinner card, I would not recommend this. It is more substantial than maybe something from Says Stamp where it's not your mama's. This is probably twice as thick as that, if not 3. It's a really meaty foam tape. So we're going to go ahead and line it up and lay it down. And then we're going to add some jewels. And that's the card for today. I'm really loving the recent release with the teacher cards. Teachers, in my opinion, don't always get the best rap, but they are teaching our tiny future humans. And it takes a really special person to be able to do that and to do a whole classroom of them. So appreciate your teachers, send them all the love. And just know that all the supplies are linked below in the description box. They are affiliate links, and what that means that is if you click on a link and shop with me, I do receive a small commission at no cost to you. And that's the card for today. Thanks for joining, and take care.